Whoa. My picnic table is kind of unlevel, so yeah. Okay, so hey y'all. Welcome back. And first I just want to say thank y'all. Like thank y'all because I fully expected to be talking to myself for a couple months at least. Okay, this is a brand new channel. And I just made a little dinky 12-minute video saying, "Hey, I'm Jade and I want to build out this van and here's how I want to do it." And gosh, in 4 days, I got like 6,000 views and 500 subscribers. How did that happen? I don't know how y'all stumbled into my little foresty corner of YouTube, but you did. And thank you. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all really made my week. Um, so I'm redoing my van in salvaged and thrifted materials, as I said in the first video. And I've got these two metal cabinets that are like really gross. And I want to refurbish them and use them in my van. Anyhow, I got carried away with the clay. So, like, literally hours passed. They just vanished. And so this video is going to have to be a two-parter, okay? Because nobody wants to watch an hour-long video. So I'm going to try to trim it down and speed it up. And in this video, you'll see me refurbishing the cabinets, making a wooden top out of scrap pallet wood, and doing a special textured paint technique, some clay work, a little bit of paint, and then some more clay because you got to kind of do it in layers. Yeah, it's a whole process. I use art as mental therapy, and sometimes I just get lost in the arting process. It's enjoyable to me. So, yeah, I hope this video doesn't disappoint. This will be a slow van build because I had to rush the van build the first time. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to build it and decorate it in ways that make me happy, okay? And the way I decorate might not be your cup of tea, but you can see through my process that you can take thrifted and salvaged items and turn them into something great. You can paint it whatever color you want, whatever color makes you happy, okay? You don't have to do it the same colors. So yeah, grab you a sweet tea, get cozy, and enjoy the process. What do you want? Do you want this? Is that what you want? Can you sit? Wait. Wait. Do you really want it though? Look at your ears. So pretty. Oh, a pretty girl. Yes. All right, here you go. Ready? This is Charlie. And if you're wondering about the bald spot on her back, she has skin issues, skin allergies, and she's on special food and such. And it's being handled, but it's really not an easy fix. The vets say it's just like trial and error. We just have to keep taking things away until we figure out what is causing the allergies. And he said it could be anything outside. So who really knows? But it doesn't seem to bother her. She just loses some hair every now and then on her back and on the tips of her ears. Other than that, she's healthy and she's happy. And she's a pretty girl. Her's a pretty girl. And she has a 100-foot lead, so that way we can come out here and she can run and play. And technically she's still on a leash, but we come way, way, way out away from where nobody else is likely to be because she's a German Shepherd, and some people are just scared because she's a German Shepherd. So, yeah. Anyhow, that's Charlie. She says hello and she sends her love. She likes to play ball with herself too. I've learned if I park at this hill, she'll throw it and go get it herself. Don't you? Don't you, Charlie? Look at the face. Look at your pretty face. And your beautiful eyes. Yes, her is so beautiful, Charlie. Yes, hers is a beautiful baby. Sorry. Sorry, that's Mama's doggy voice. Do you have a doggy voice? Or do you just talk to your dogs? Because I have a doggy voice. Do you want this? Come and get it. Sit. Good girl. Good girl, Charlie. Go get it. Okay, sit back. Bye, Charlie. Okay, so here they are in all their multicolored, rusty, crusty glory. I mean, I've seen some cleaner dumpsters. I don't even want to guess what some of these things are. And the smell, my goodness. Let's just say these guys have seen some things. So, step one, we're going to knock off some of the loose gunk with my leaf blower. Not just for leaves, y'all. This thing doubles as my personal dirt exorcist. And if you're not covered in cobwebs and questionable debris after this step, did you even clean? So get in there and get all of that dirt out because I can't take these drawers out. I tried, it didn't go well. Then I'm going in with this outdoor cleaner. It's safe for dogs, safe for the plants, but hopefully strong enough to make a dent in whatever's haunting these cabinets. Honestly, this part is satisfying in a gross way, like giving a dragon a bath, except the dragon is rusty metal and the bath water is turning a color I refuse to name. Once they're good and scrubbed, I'm going to hit them with the water hose and call it a win. This is just surface prep. We're not trying to make them perfect, just a little less haunted. Alright, it's time for the terrifying part. If you're a pro with power tools, now might be a good time for you to look away. Or at least try not to judge me too hard. I've got 8 metal feet to cut off of these cabinets, and this side grinder is the only tool I have for the job. And yes, it scares the absolute bejeebus out of me. Not only is it loud and aggressive and basically a spinning blade of chaos, but I also bought this guy second hand, which means there's no guard, no handle, and no mercy. But y'all, fear or not, I'm a firm believer that if you want to grow, you got to push through the hard stuff. Life doesn't hand out progress like freebies. You got to earn it with sweat, shaky hands, and sometimes very questionable power tool decisions. This is not how they do it on YouTube, and I am painfully aware of that, but I got it done. And look, I still got all of my phalanges intact. So I'll call that a win. Where there's a wheel and apparently no safety gear, there is a way. Okay, now that the danger blade has done its job, it's time to move on to something slightly less terrifying: sanding. I'm using a palm sander to go over the entire exterior and interior of these cabinets. The goal is to knock down as much surface rust as I can and rough up the metal so the paint will actually stick to it. Think of it as exfoliating, but for furniture. It's loud, it's dusty, and honestly, it's kind of therapeutic once you get going. But, and this part's important, always wear a mask when you're sanding, especially rusty metal. You do not want to be breathing in whatever mystery dust comes off this mess. That's a nope for your lungs and your life expectancy. So mask up and let's get this old rust bucket prepped for something beautiful. These guys are all sanded, roughly, but good enough, and still dripping wet because I hit them with the hose one more time. Gotta wash off all that rusty sanding dust and maybe a little bad energy while I'm at it. Now it's time to prime. And listen, you could go buy a fancy can of primer. It would probably take quite a few cans, but honestly, chalk paint works just as well. And I happened to thrift this big old quart of white chalk paint for next to nothing. So we're just going to lather it on, inside, outside, all the surfaces. This helps the final paint grab on better and means I won't have to do a million coats later. It doesn't have to be pretty right now. It just has to cover. Think of it like giving your cabinets a base tan before they go full forest fantasy. And I did end up doing 2 coats inside and out on both cabinets. Okay, y'all. Every single surface of these cabinets is now fully coated, inside, outside, top to bottom. I used every last drop of that chalk paint. Look at this can. Bone dry. I even scraped the lid. That's dedication or desperation. Probably both. They're looking mighty fresh already, but I'm going to leave them to dry overnight so that the paint can really set in. As for me, I'm clocking out. It's time to feed the dogs, feed myself, and get off my aching feet. I'm no spring chicken anymore, and let me tell you, this chicken is cooked. Even the sun's clocking out. Look at that, slipping down behind the hill like it knows we've both done enough for one day. We'll pick back up tomorrow. For now, I rest. Good morning, and welcome to my paint stash, or what I like to call organized chaos with potential. I'm not going to the store. Nope. Not today, Satan. Not today. We're working with what we've got. That's my life motto. Most of these paints came from thrift stores, yard sales, or the glorious Miss Tent shelf at the local hardware store. I've paid less than $1 for some of these, and sure, some of them are suspiciously chunky, but we don't judge around here. So today I'm shifting through this pile of half used dreams, trying to find or mix a color that speaks to me. I'm feeling something deep, earthy, a little wild. Forest green. If the forest was slightly feral and raised on hope and discount paint, I'll just blend until it feels right. That's the rule. Not perfect, just right. Now that I've got my paint color figured out, or at least something close, I want texture. Partly because I love the way it feels. I'm a sensory person, and smooth just isn't satisfying. I want grit. I want depth. I want to run my fingers over this thing and feel like I'm touching tree bark from another realm. But also, I've got plans. I'm adding clay accents to these cabinets, and a gritty surface helps the clay cling on for dear life. No slipping, no peeling, just full on forest fusion. The clay and the cabinet will become one, bonded by the power of sand and slightly chaotic craft energy. I don't have a recipe, no ratios. I'm just adding sand and mixing until it feels right. If it looks like mud and stirs like oatmeal, I'm probably close. It's messy, it's weird, and it's exactly what this project needs. Here we go. Y'all, oh my golly goodness, this is magical. The very first brushstroke of this sand paint on the cabinet, and I'm just in love. Like full blown heart eyes. It's magical. I don't know how else to describe it. It's earthy, it's gritty in all the right ways. It kind of feels like painting with colored cement, which sounds weird, but trust me, it's dreamy. And when it dries, it's got that solid natural texture, like stone or aged bark. This is going to be so durable, and I already know the clay is going to cling to it like moss on a tree. It's not just paint anymore. It's the foundation for something with life and soul. Sometimes you experiment and it's a disaster. And sometimes you create forest magic with a little sand and sheer determination. Well, let me know in the comments. What do you think of this textured paint process? Is this something you might would try out, or is it just a little too over the top for you? This glorious mess right here, that's my pile of scrap pallet wood. Rough, uneven, full of nails and mystery, but also full of potential. I'm about to dig through and find the pieces that speak to me, the ones with the most character, the best grain, or maybe just the right size and stubbornness. Once I've got what I need, I'll cut them to size and give them a good sanding. Pallet wood might look rough at first, but once you clean it up, it can be really pretty, full of charm, texture, and that worn-in warmth you just can't fake. No fancy lumber here, just rescued scraps ready for a second life as a tabletop. I'm not going to stain or paint these because I actually enjoy the color of wood. I'll just add a gloss coat to protect it. And then I'm going to add in some supporting beams of scrap wood here and glue it together, and that will help hold my tabletop in place. Now, I have a ton of these vintage brass drawer pulls, and I don't really have any cabinet knobs, just drawer pulls. So I know that technically these are supposed to go that way, okay? But I need something for the cabinet door. So I'm thinking of just turning it like this, up and down, and using it as a cabinet door pull. I think it's going to look fine. Leave me a comment and tell me what you think about this idea. Okay, y'all, it's time to bring out the clay. This is my trusty wooden crate where I keep all of my clay supplies. It's not fancy, but it holds everything I need to sculpt a whole forest if I wanted to. I've got my laptop pulled up with some reference images. Pinterest is basically my creative partner at this point. Just endless inspiration and way too many tabs open. I'm using basic clay tools. I bought these from Temu for just a few bucks. Honestly, I only use like two of them regularly, but hey, the whole set makes me feel professional. You're also going to need a cup of water nearby. Clay dries out super fast, and water is like your sculpting lifeline. It helps everything blend, smooth, and stay manageable. Now, for the sun shape, I'm using this broken ceramic plant pot to trace a half circle. Listen, we use what we've got around here. No shame. This is scrappy crafting at its finest. I'll use a pencil to sketch out a rough placement on the cabinet just to get my bearings. Then we're diving into some good old freehand sculpting. No molds, no rulers, just clay, water, and intuition. You're going to have to sharpen your pencil a lot, so keep a sharpener or a knife handy so you can do that. And now I just want to lightly trace where my handle is going to go. That way I know not to cover that area in thick clay because you don't want to get your masterpiece done and not be able to fit your handle in place afterwards. There's something kind of magical about taking a lump of clay and turning it into something that never existed before. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, it just matters that it's yours. Now, I'm not a professional sculptor or clayer or whatever the official word is. I just play with clay until it looks the way I want it to. Simple as that. You don't need fancy tools. As I mentioned, I bought mine off Temu for next to nothing, and I still only ever used about two of them. What you do need is water, lots of it. Water is free. A spray bottle would have been ideal, but in true me fashion, I ended up just splashing it on with my hand like I was baptizing a very stubborn project. It was messy, it was chaotic, and it was kind of perfect. The key is to keep the clay wet while you work. Wet clay blends, smooths, and listens better. Dry clay, she's feisty. And if you're trying to do anything delicate while she's drying out, good luck and God bless. You'll see me blending a lot here, pressing edges, smoothing lines, shaping until something clicks. And when it doesn't click, I just rip it off and start over. No harm, no foul. That's the beauty of clay. You get to change your mind. You get to begin again. I know this sculpt may seem a little elaborate, but don't let that scare you off. You don't have to create an entire forest guardian just to start. Add a tiny leaf to a picture frame, a mushroom on a flower pot, a face on a rock. Little bits of whimsy go a long way, and they make your space feel alive. My work isn't perfect, but I get to stand back and say, I made that with my own two hands, a splash of water, and a wild idea. And let me tell you, that's a good feeling. So if you're watching this and thinking, I could never do that, I'm here to tell you, friend, yes, you absolutely can. And if it turns into a lumpy, chaotic disaster, just call it abstract art. Abstract's supposed to be confusing. Just enjoy the process. Laugh at the mess. Be proud of the effort. Because once stress creeps in, the fun walks right out. And we're not here for the stress. We're here for the joy of making something out of nothing, one imperfect leaf at a time.
I started as a seed in the ground, so cold. The weight of the earth was heavy to hold. But through all the darkness, I found my own way, stretching toward the promise of another day. Rooted with grace through the storm and the rain, I grew through the struggle, I embraced all the pain. With kindness and peace, my branches take space, standing tall and so strong, rooted with grace. The winds they howled as the skies turned gray, yet still I stood strong, and I refused to sway. Each leaf is a memory, each bloom is a fight. Every scar on my bark tells of finding my light. Rooted with grace through the storm and the rain, I grew through the struggle, I embraced all the pain. With kindness and peace, my branches take space, standing tall and so strong, rooted with grace. The soil once harsh now cradles my roots. The sun kisses gently and nurtures my shoots. I've learned to bend, but never to break. Through every storm, it's love that I take. Rooted with grace through the storm and the rain, I grew through the struggle, I embraced all the pain. With kindness and peace, my branches take space, standing tall and so strong, rooted with grace.
So this is what we're working with so far, okay? Now I want to add, for sure, some leaves, possibly some flowers, maybe some mushrooms, maybe a bird. I don't know. He could have a little bird in his hair because he is a tree. But before I add layers, I need to give him a complete base coat of like a dark brown or a black. I'm not sure yet. So this has got to dry. I'm going to leave him out here overnight and let him dry. And that is the hardest process of this when you're trying to make a video on it. You have to let this dry before you paint. And you really need to paint your base coat before you add multiple layers, or else when I lay the leaves over, I won't be able to paint under the leaves, and then you might see white and some cracks, and I don't want that. So he's gonna sit out here and rest and dry overnight. We didn't need a name for him. I mean, he is the green man, but he needs a name. I don't know. Alright, so it's time to add some paint. I still need to make clay leaves and stuff, but I need to paint this layer first so that when I layer the leaves on top, it'll be on top of something that's already painted and I won't have any raw spots. So for the entire green man, I'm going to paint a base coat of burnt umber over everything. That's like the shadow layer. And for the sun, I'm going to paint the entire base layer in this vintage mustard. And I'm going to do that off camera because it's not really complicated. I'm just slapping some paint on there and then I'll show you when I'm done. I did have a few cracks, but that's fine. To me, cracks just gives character. I'm not so stressed about stuff like that. Okay, let's paint. Now, for texture like this, it's best to use a soft bristled brush. I get these on Temu and they're like super cheap. But that way you can really get into all of those crevices without knocking off your clay, okay? Because some of these are thin, and if you're using a sturdy bristled brush, it's just going to knock it off. And if you're seeing that your paint's just is still not getting down in there, dip it, just lightly dip it in some water, rub it in your paint, okay? And that's going to help your paint smooth into the cracks, okay? Just like that. Now you might have to do extra coats this way, but sometimes that's the only way to get your paint down into those cracks. The water just helps the paint flow. Okay, that's what we've got so far. I'm gonna just finish painting this guy up. Something else that I want to point out here, we're not painting this, we're stippling it, okay? Just like that, alright? We're not doing the traditional paint, okay? We're just stippling it. Okay? Okay, so here he is, fully sculpted and base coated. The green man is officially emerging, and y'all, I'm already obsessed. Now, this next part's gonna take a little patience. I'm adding leaves to like the beard, the eyebrows, the mustache, using this single mold right here. That's right, one mold. One of each leaf shape, so yes. It's going to be a slow crawl of clay work from here on out, but I'm okay with that. Forest magic takes time, and I'm going to glue the leaves on with the tight bond glue. Here's just a little sneak peek of the direction I'm heading. Leafy eyebrows, a beard full of overgrowth and wild beauty. These leaves are going to breathe so much life into him. And yes, I know I should have made the directions opposite, but I can't. Okay, I have one mold and it's one mold shape, so I couldn't do an in a reverse. So yeah, it's slow work, it's repetitive, but it's also kind of meditative. Just me, the clay, and a pile of little forest whispers waiting to find their place. But this is all he's gonna get for this video, okay? Because I'm out of time. This video is like 30 minutes long, and so I'm gonna cut it off here. And y'all are gonna have to come back for the part 2 video in a couple days so that you can see the top get put on. I plan to build a fold down tabletop on the back because this cabinet is gonna sit in the doorway, okay? And I haven't even started claying the other cabinet, so that cabinet might be its own separate video. I'm thinking maybe a rainbow or something. Alright, y'all, so this is where I'm just going to have to tap out for part 1 video of this project, because if I have to press one more tiny leaf into it with that mold, I'm going to lose my shite, for lack of a better word. But anyways, this is Charlie. She's watching my back right now. She's making sure nobody gets close. But anyhow, yeah. So make sure that you stay tuned for part 2, and we will wrap this project up. And I hope you enjoyed what you saw today. I hope it wasn't too boring. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. I don't know. But Charlie, hey, you're gonna knock me off. Charlie, can you say hey over here? Over here. Say hello. She's like, who am I saying hey to? I don't see anybody. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she thinks she's a chihuahua. But, all dogs are lap dogs, right? Goodness. Okay. Have a great day, y'all. Thanks for watching.